Welcome to Bulletproof Veteran Podcast. Thank you for your service.
Welcome back, everybody, to Bulletproof Veteran Podcast. We have a special edition today. Today is our 50th episode. And we're a little bit over 50 because we did a couple specials along the way. We did a check-in with Rucking to Remember. We did a holiday Christmas show with pinups for vets. But the numbered episodes, we hit 50 with this one, folks. And rather than have somebody come on the show and highlight an organization, I thought we would try to do some good today. We're going to do our normal things. We're going to talk about some runs that are coming up. We're going to talk about, a veteran-owned business that you can get some shirts and stuff from. Like I said, that's a new segment that we're starting at the top of each show. We're going to highlight a veteran-owned business, usually one that I have some products from and that I could talk about from a personal experience, and then maybe you might want to go out and support them. So we're going to do all that. But recently, Foxhole Podcast reached out to me and wanted to get a group of podcasts, veteran podcasts, together to talk about what's going on in Afghanistan. And that's what we're going to do today. So I want to take the opportunity with the 50th episode to get some good information out there to everybody, and also maybe, I kind of nudge people along to help somebody else that really needs it. So that's going to be our goal for today. It's not going to be a long show. I'm going to get some information out to you guys. I'm going to tell you where you can go for more information and how you can get involved. Again, 50 episodes. I can't tell you how happy I am that we made it to 50 episodes. When you look back at this past about year and a half, between heart attacks, between COVID, all this stuff, we have pushed through. We've built a community. I have people that come up to me and say, I love the show. I got so much great information from this guest or that guest. I got to interview Rudy Reyes and Nick Palmisano. These are guys that I've been watching on YouTube and HBO and stuff like that. It is amazing to think of the people that I've sat down with. People trying to get a war memorial together for the global war on terrorism. I've had psychedelics on. I've grown, guests about growing cannabis, using cannabis. I Tim K on, who's basically chronicling what it is like to be a veteran all the way back from World War II. The guy's had just Major James Capers on his, vlog and podcast. I am honored to sit down with each and every guest that I get to talk to. I could literally sit here and name all 50, and I'm blown away that these people took the time out of their days, their busy schedules, to sit down with me. I'm a nobody. I'm just out here hanging out and trying to get some information out to you guys. But it's so cool when somebody will come up to me who I didn't know even listened to the show. Because listen, I have friends and family that always download the show, and it's great. And they tell me, oh, it was great to listen to this, listen to that. But it's really cool when somebody that I didn't think listened to the show or I didn't know at all sees me wearing a shirt or something like that. And they say, man, I listened to that show. I really got a lot out of this episode, or I went and checked out this organization because of you. It is the best part of my day when that happens. So the biggest thank you goes out to every single listener, everybody that has sent in information, suggestions, bought a shirt, to help out, pay for some of the stuff. Anybody who signed up for the Bulletproof Veteran 5K and came out on that great Saturday when we all hung out and raised money for One More Wave. Everybody who supported me along this whole 50 episode journey, thank you. A big shout out to my wife, who puts up with me being in the basement more than I probably should be, watches the little one upstairs when I need to be down here editing or recording or anything like that. She always backs me up. I never, ever question when I say, hon, I gotta go do this. She doesn't give me shit about it. Doesn't make me feel bad about taking time out to do this work, because she knows how important it is to me and how important it is to everybody else to get this information. So big shout out and thank you to her. And if you haven't, go check out what she's doing over at Fast It Forward. She's actually one of our, I think she actually was our first real guest that we had on, and she's killing it. She's doing just amazing things and helping so many people with fasting. She's doing work groups now. She's doing individual counseling. So head over to her Instagram if you're interested in the fasting game. She's the one who is going to get you through it and get you over the hump and teach you all the things you need to know about fasting. So again, shout out to my wife, who's just awesome. Listen, like I said, thank you. That's all I can say is thank you. But let's get right into all our information and stuff like that. We'll start off with our new segment, like I talked about, highlighting a veteran-owned and operated company. This week, I got a really cool one for you. This is a company I stumbled upon, this was years ago, and they really didn't even have that many products. They had a few, but they didn't have that many. And the company is Awesome Shit, My Drill Sergeant Said. And they had a bunch of different shirts. Actually, I'll scoot over so you can see. This is one of their shirts. Just really cool stuff. And really how I kind of stumbled upon them was their logo is killer. It's basically a skull face with a drill instructor hat and a cigar. And I saw it and I was like, I got to click on that. And then, I started going through some of the products and that type of thing. And I was like, I gotta order from this guy. And he was actually in the process of writing a book, Awesome Shit, My Drill Sergeant Said, which is now available on the website. You can go there at shop.asmdss.com. And if you want to laugh your ass off, get this book, because it's basically all the stuff that if you are a veteran, you remember your drill sergeant saying. It's the weird shit that that drill sergeants said to us, and we would have to try to not laugh because you knew you were going to get freaking smoked if you actually laughed. Let's be honest. I mean, each individual force, whether it's branches of service, had their own drill sergeants, knife hands. Air Force drill instructors always used to say the word nut. They lock it up, nut, and this. And I was like, who's calling me a nut? What the hell is happening? So this book basically talks about all those different things. Quotes like, look at me again, and I'll set you on fire and put you out with a fork. I mean, come on. George Carlin couldn't write some shit like that. So this is all the stuff that has been, kind of compiled and put into this guy's book. Again, available on the website. But really what's great about this organization is they just have some awesome, unique T-shirts. And I love T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, all that kind of stuff. If you go on their website, they have just some cool shit. They have the 2020 dumpster fire. They have a Tiger King shirt. If you go down, they have the Combat Jack Lube Company, which is awesome. They have the Capitol building, and it says, "This is why we can't have nice things." I mean, walk around with that guy at the grocery store. People will be definitely looking at you. They have one of my favorites. I actually have this guy on order right now. Is instead of it as the Ranger tab, and it just says regular forces instead of the tab that said we would say Ranger or Special Forces or something like that. I have that guy on order right now. Just very cool stuff. They have some patriotic stuff. Flags. Let's get day drunk for America. All that stuff. They have, like I said, this guy, which is an oath flag. They have some really cool hoodies. They have the Desert Tiger Stripe hoodie. A couple other things. They got football jerseys. They have some really great Hawaiian T-shirts. Okay. Now, for my buddy Zero out there, we used to do Hawaiian T-shirt day out at POV in Italy because you weren't allowed to wear your uniform downtown for POV inspection. And we used to actually wear a Hawaiian T-shirt once a week down there. So they have some really unique ones, American flag ones, Aloha ones. They have ones with, all different weapons on them. Just really cool stuff. An M67, a grenade, sex ed button downs. Anything your heart could desire. The Anatomy of Pew hoodie is really cool. They have the U.S. Military Gallery of Fine Art, which is a military latrine hoodie. I love it. Like I said, really cool products. Everything down to drinkware, coffee cups, world's okayest boyfriend and girlfriend. I definitely world's okayest husband. If you're out there listening, that might be one you want to try. And okay, this is not a PG-13 show. This has always been a full-fledged rated R show where you can say whatever you want. The Eat a Dick Valentine's Day gift, where it's basically just a dick in a box and it says "Eat a Dick," and you can send this out to a friend. That is the way to reach out and touch a service member. So that is available on the website as well. And the DD-214 blanket is available. And we also have offensive crayons for all my Marine buddies. These are just, like I said, awesome products, very unique, very cool stuff. So head on over to shop.asmdss.com. They are our highlighted veteran-owned company of the week. Like I said, I don't get anything from them. This is not an advertisement for them. It's just some stuff that I've bought, and I think they're cool as shit. So get on over to their website and check them out. All right. What else do we got before we get into our topic? Suffolk County Veteran Run Series. All right. We'll glide into that. We have the Run for Briggs. This is one that's close to a lot of Long Island veterans' hearts. This was a gentleman that lost his life. He served for the 106, which is a pararescue unit out on the east end of Long Island. And this is the run to remember him. It's August 13th. It's virtual only. Again, due to COVID and all that kind of stuff, they just kept it virtual. But you can go and you can sign up at the Suffolk County Veteran Run Series website and sign up for that one. Please, help them out. They have a foundation that the money's going to, and they're doing great things for our local veterans here. After that, there's really not another race for about a month. And then it is Rob Novotny's Team RWB and Project 9 Heart of an Eagle 5K, which will be September 12th. All the information for that one is not up on the website yet because I think he's still trying to navigate some of the COVID stuff and kind of feeling out where we're going with that. I'm sure everybody who's listening to the news every day sees, it's like a different world depending on what day you turn on the television and what news channel you actually listen to. So who knows what's going to really happen by September. So Rob's checking that out to make sure that goes off in the best way possible. So whether that's an in-person event, virtual, whatever, that's going to be starting on September 12th. All right. That gets us through the next couple months with Suffolk County Veteran Run Series. As always, and as I announced last week on the show, if you want to support Bulletproof Veteran Podcast, help us out with our Zoom costs, that type of stuff. I don't want to just ask for donations. That's not my style. I don't want to do that. So what I've been trying to do is design some pretty cool T-shirts of my own, not to take away from any business that might be going to awesome shit. My drill sergeant said, listen, guys, not trying to do that to you. And I'm not worried either. I think you got me well in hand. But I've been putting together some cool little designs and stuff, at least stuff that I either think is funny or fun to wear. I've been putting them up on bulletproofveteran.com. You can click them and it goes right to Amazon, or you could just search for Bulletproof Veteran on Amazon and just click on one of them and you'll see the brand is Bulletproof Veteran, and it'll bring up all the shirts that are available. They're usually right around in the $20 range. And it's an Amazon merch thing. I don't really have much control over it, but I get a little, kickback every time a shirt is bought. So again, all that goes to my Zoom costs and hosting and that type of stuff. So if you want to support the show and if you want to, wear some of our gear, so people might ask and say, hey, where'd you get that? Where can I listen to the show? It's a great way to help us out. So if you'd like to do that, again, you can go to bulletproofveteran.com. There's an apparel tab and it has pictures of each one of the shirts and a link to click to go purchase. More to come on those. I'll keep putting out as many as I possibly can. I got some fun ones coming up that I think everybody will really like. So please check that out. As always, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're on Clubhouse. We're on Rumble and YouTube. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. We're on all the podcast platforms. Again, subscribe, leave comments and reviews. Best way to support the show. Even better than buying a shirt. Don't buy a shirt. Not worried about that. But if you could subscribe and leave comments, reviews, that type of stuff, always awesome to help out that way. So please do that. If you have show ideas or comments or anything, you can go to bulletproofveteran.com. There's a contact page, and you could fill that out. Or if you just want to shoot me an email, that's perfectly fine as well. You can send that to bulletproofveteran@gmail.com. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, I think we can get right into our topic, and that's, again, what's going on in Afghanistan. So I gotta, first of all, huge thank you for the Foxhole podcast for reaching out and including Bulletproof Veteran Podcast in kind of this push that they're doing to get some information out about a very important topic. And it's a topic that we've already talked about on this show. So this is nothing new. We had Colonel Miska on, and he had wrote a book. I think it was episode 41. And he wrote a book, Baghdad Underground Railroad. And it was talking about the Iraqi interpreters. What Foxhole Podcast was really wanted to kind of put some attention on is what's going on in Afghanistan with those interpreters. And the reason that we kind of need to focus a little bit now on Afghanistan is, as you all are aware, especially if you're military or a veteran, the kind of change in our posture there with, all the troops kind of coming out, where I think we're down 95% total. Troops have come out of Afghanistan, including some of the larger Air Force bases, airports, and pretty much all of your larger installations are completely empty now. And what we're seeing is a very, very strong reemergence of the Taliban. Basically, they made an agreement with us, I believe it was back in 2020, that we had to leave in 14 months. And if we did that, they were going to work with the Afghan government and all these different things, promises. If you believe the Taliban, I mean, come on, we're 20 years into this war and we're believing what the Taliban's going to say. I think we got bigger problems. But they've done basically what we thought they were going to do, and they have started taking over different provinces, some major cities, and everything that we worked for in the support of Afghanistan, whether you deployed there or deployed to support the people that were there, however you served during, Operation Enduring Freedom, it's kind of hard to see, for a veteran. I think, I have no problem with us leaving. This is totally my opinion, but the excuse of you have to have a plan. I hear these politicians, you can't just leave, you got to have a plan. Well, you went in there without a fucking plan. You just went in there. You were just going to build a country. That's what your idea was, because that's worked so well for us. Never. So why do you got to have a plan to leave? You didn't care about the veterans that got hurt. That wasn't your plan for leaving. So, I feel very strongly about that. I'm not an individual that thinks you have to have a plan to leave, because they didn't have a plan going in. I think they went in with good intentions, at least Afghanistan. I think you had to do something after, September 11th. I think it was important that we did. But then I think unfortunately, that's where the plan kind of stopped. And, the military, we took on the weight for all the people that deployed to that country and lost friends, lost, loved ones, got hurt, amputations, physical disabilities, mental issues when they got home, the amount of people that we lost to suicide and continue to lose to suicide now that they're home, that war that continues, that we talk about on the show so much, that war that continues when we get back. And so, again, I think it's a horrible situation, what's going to happen there. And I feel for the Afghani people, but the people that I really feel for, and the reason that the Foxhole podcast reached out, was for these interpreters, these people that helped the U.S. And now they're stuck there with the Taliban, who they went against, kind of taking control. Well, what do you think is going to happen to them? There's stories of beheadings. There's just killings. There's killings of their entire families, women, children. I mean, the Taliban is not known for being some nice people that, will put them on trial or something like that. No, they just go in and they fucking kill them. So again, these people are just kind of left there. And I think what the Foxhole Podcast is trying to do is just get people to understand what's going on, get people to start pressuring our elected officials that are in Washington to do their job and help the people that helped us. And for so many veterans, they had very close relationships with their interpreters. If they were forward deployed with their interpreter, they were their eyes and ears, and they needed them. So, if you are that veteran out there that did have an interpreter that you had a close relationship, you might want to help now if they're still over in Afghanistan, if they didn't make it over to the U.S. yet. Some just basic facts about the Afghan war and where we're at before we actually get into the whole how you can help out with the interpreter thing. These are just some statistics. Okay. I'm not trying to throw too much opinion at you. I did a little bit there with the whole, leaving Afghanistan thing, but that's me. What am I going to do? But these are just facts. Okay. These are numbers, and numbers are important. Facts are important. Okay. We have to understand what has happened over the past 20 years. Okay. So that when we make an argument, say, for helping these interpreters, you can throw some facts at people about how things have been mismanaged and how they need to correct the course and do the right thing finally. So I'm going to flip through my papers here. Don't mind me. I mean business when I got papers all over the desk. I mean, come on, look at this. Cost of the Afghan War. Okay, 20 years. Okay, so first off, when we talk cost, we can talk in a couple different ways. We can talk about money, we can talk about loss of life, and we can talk about time. So 20 years, longest war that the U.S. has ever fought. So cost one is 20 years. 20 years of this. Money, over $2 trillion. Okay, now the U.S. government will try to tell you that it's a lot less than that. They try to throw 800 billion, 850 around. That number, you'll see it on a lot of websites. If you just Google cost of Afghan war, the figure that comes up a lot, I forget what it is. I think it's like 815 billion. We'll use that, what's a billion here or a billion there. But that's not real. Okay. The 933 billion, which is more accurate as of April 2021. And now these figures are all from the Cost of War Project, just so you know. That's where I got this stuff from. So you can get your own, you can go to other sources, please do your own research. I'm just a guy behind a desk talking to you. So please do your own research, get your own information. I definitely want you to do that, but this is the information that I got. 933 billion in DoD overseas contingency funding. So this is basically just funding for overseas contingency planning and the Afghan war. Okay. So if these are your operations, equipment, everything that goes into Afghanistan. 443 billion was added to the budget, the base budget for the DoD to support the war. So this is above and beyond their normal budget. This is money earmarked for Afghanistan, 443 billion. 296 billion to care for the veterans when they get back. This is a number that is dropped off all the time. They don't talk about it. And I'll tell you why they don't talk about it in a minute, but they don't talk about the 296 billion to care for our veterans. And if we're talking about cost of war, you have to take care of the people when they get home. That's part of the cost of doing business, folks. And if we're going to send men and women over to die and get hurt, we have to take care of their families and we have to take care of them when they get back. We've talked about toxic exposure on this show. We've had Hunter 7 on. We've had the Stronghold Freedom Foundation on. they do their darndest to not take care of us when we get back here. Let's be honest, the VA system is broken. Now, in part, it's not their fault. They're given a ridiculous task, and they're not funded properly, and the government doesn't do the right thing to make sure that the VA can do their job. Now, the VA has their own problems. I'm not trying to give them an out. They're messed up, but they're not set up to succeed. They're set up to fail. But $296 billion to care for veterans. All right. $59 billion in state overseas contingency funding. I couldn't really understand what that was for. It's $59 billion. It's in the tally. Great. Okay. I don't know why that wasn't just in the DOD overseas contingency funding. Maybe the state funding is more like stuff that's going into Afghanistan, embassies, that type of stuff. That's what I'm guessing. All right. Now, here's the one that kind of is going to piss you off. And here's the one that is why we don't talk about the $296 billion to care for our veterans. The interest paid on the loans for this war, $530 billion in interest. Okay. Now, for all you math majors out there, $530 billion for interest. You get nothing for that. It's like when you buy your house, how much money goes out the window just in your interest, right? Well, this is money that just goes out the window. You get nothing for it. $530 billion. We only spent $296 billion to care for the men and women that fought the war. Basically, half. We spent almost double just on interest. You wonder why we don't talk about the $296 billion, because it's insanity. It's insanity that we pay almost double for the interest alone on the money that we spent over that 20 years. Okay, so let that one sink in. I'll give you a second on that one. So that's your financial cost. So we talked about time, we talked about finance. The last cost is obviously loss of life, and that's the hardest one to kind of swallow to me. Even the money spent on interest, but the loss of life is the hardest thing. Because for many of you, it's friends and family. For many of you, it's people that you went to school with. It's your neighbor. It's your neighbor's son or daughter. This is the one that kind of hits home. But it also speaks to the loss of life in Afghanistan as well, which kind of backs up what's going on with the interpreters. All right. Total of 241,000 dead. Okay. That's 2,400 service members for just the U.S. alone. Okay. 71,344 civilians dead. 78,314 Afghan military and police. So these are the people that were fighting alongside our men and women. 78,314 lost their life. 84,191 opposition fighters killed. Now, you might say, who gives a crap about them? But they're in the tally. It's loss of life. And like every war, there's loss of life on both sides. This does not include, this tally, this 241,000 people dead, this does not include the people that were indirectly killed due to the war in Afghanistan, whether it was due to disease, lost access to food, water, infrastructure, anything like that. When we talk about, infant mortality, when we talk about women and children that may have died because they couldn't get the right food and water, when we talk about people that were displaced from their homes and were left to live out in the elements and died, that is not included in any of this. So again, let this sink in. Let's understand what actually happened over there. Okay. And understand that the Taliban, now taking back control of a lot of the country, is not giving a shit about any of those people. Okay. It's not like they're going to reach out and start helping the people that are displaced from their homes or don't have good access to food and water or education. Okay. All the money that we put into making sure that women had opportunity to get educated, The Taliban don't support women in any way. They just either leave them to freaking die or kill them themselves. So do you think any of them are going to get support that they need? Do you think that children are going to get the support that they need from the Taliban? No. Okay. And that goes to the kind of refugee situation that you have over there, where you have 2.6 million Afghans remain refugees or have fled. And they're mostly going to Pakistan and Iran. Again, not the nicest places to run to. It's not like they're running to, I don't know, the Amalfi Coast in Italy. You know, we're not hanging out having espresso because we got out of Afghanistan. These poor people are going to Pakistan and Iran to flee Afghanistan. Okay. We have 4 million Afghans remain internally displaced in Afghanistan. So 4 million that just moved to a different part of Afghanistan because maybe their home was destroyed, or there's no electric to their homes, or they don't have basic food and water, so they had to leave. Okay. These are big numbers. These are really big numbers. Okay. Let's do a little compare and contrast. So when we talk about the people that helped us, these interpreters say, there are programs to get them over here. All right. Because a lot of them are part of these numbers that I just listed, especially the refugees and the internally displaced. A lot of them are hiding. Okay. So they might be internally displaced. They might be part of the 4 million because they can't stay in certain areas because the Taliban has taken over those areas, and they'll just kill them. Again, stories of beheadings, all that stuff. There's a lot of information out there, and I'm going to be posting it on bulletproofveteran.com, links and stuff that you can go to if you want to read this. I'm not going to bore with just reading you stories. I will allow you to do that yourself. But horrible stuff and these people just, their crime is helping the United States. So we have the special visa program. We talked about it with Colonel Miska. Okay, this exists. So what does that look like? Well, there's an organization called No One Left Behind, and they are one of the only organizations that is trying to get these people over to the United States and get them out of harm's way. They deal with both Iraq and Afghanistan. Again, this show, we're focusing more on Afghanistan. If you want to learn a little bit about the Iraq situation and the Baghdad Underground Railroad book, go listen to episode 41. Colonel Miska goes into all of it. He does it 10 times better than I ever could. Please go back and listen to him talk about more of the Iraq situation. He talks about Afghanistan a little bit, but he focused on Iraq. So there is this visa program, right? And on the No One Left Behind website, they kind of outline what this kind of process looks like. So the initiation of an application. The applicant submits an application package, which includes an employment certification letter and supervisor recommendation to the Department of State's National Visa Center. Okay. The Visa Center reviews the documents and sends completed package to the U.S. Embassy in Kabul. The embassy reviews and makes a decision to approve or deny the application, advises the National Visa Center of the decision, and upon approval, they notify the applicant. Okay. That's 105 days, generally speaking. 105 days. Now, if we're not done yet, by the way, but that's 105 days. Now, if you are worried about getting killed, 105 days might as well be a lifetime. All right. Applicant self-petition, okay, is the next step. So once they're notified, they have the applicant self-petition portion. The applicant self-petition to the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Okay. They adjudicate the petition and send it to the National Visa Center if it's approved. Okay, so now we're back at, again, the National Visa Center. That process takes about 15 days. So tack on another 15 days. Then we get into the visa interview process. So based on the instructions from the National Visa Center, Applicant submits required standard immigrant visa documentation. It's reviewed. The documents are scheduled with the applicant for the next available interview at the embassy. Now, the embassy is in Kabul. So for a lot of these interpreters, these applicants have to now get to Kabul to do this interview. Well, this isn't like taking the train into Manhattan from Long Island. This is a dangerous journey. And many of these applicants don't have any money. They have to leave their families unprotected and go into Kabul. This is not, it's not a good situation. Let's just put it like that. The consular's office interviews the applicant. If the interview is successfully completed, applicant's case undergoes administrative processing. Now, there's all sorts of stuff that goes into this, including a polygraph. And the polygraph can be a sticking point. And some of the links that I'm going to provide on the website, which, again, were provided by the Foxhole Podcast, talk about that if you fail the polygraph, you're automatically out. You don't really get much of an explanation. And some of the applicants, some of the interpreters talk about this. They fail the polygraph, but they don't get any information of why they failed the polygraph, and they're just done. Well, now you're screwed. And it could be for a really stupid reason. It could be a misunderstanding. It could be out of fear. It's 1,000 reasons you could fail a polygraph. But again, this is the process. Well, that visa interview process takes another 237 days. Okay. So we had 105 days, 15 days, 237 days. Again, you now had to travel to Kabul. You had to leave your family. You had to spend money that you probably don't have. Okay. All after serving alongside U.S. men and women, service members, fighting the Taliban and the global war on terrorism, Al-Qaeda, all the other, ISIL, Daesh, all these other organizations that have been there throughout this 20 years. They have been helping. Okay. Not done yet. Okay. The visa now has to be issued to the eligible applicant. They have to go through a medical exam. Upon completion of the administrative process, the applicant is instructed to take a medical exam. Again, for some of these people, it's very hard to do. And then the visa is issued, okay? The process takes approximately 357 days. Now, you say, okay, it's about a year. No. That's 357 business days, folks. Because you think these offices work on the weekends. You've never been to the DMV. All right. 357 business days. So well over a year. Well over a year. By the time this is all said and done, that this person who applied would finally be awarded the visa. And when they're awarded the visa, they're still not even out of the country. Okay. So there's still a big process to go to actually get them out of the country. So I wanted to share that with you. And again, all this information is on No One Left Behind's website. It's nooneleft.org. And you can click on how to get a visa. And it's in a table. You can check it out yourself. Like I said, all this stuff is going to be linked on the Bulletproof Veteran Podcast website, bulletproofveteran.com. Because I want you to be able to see it for yourself. I'm not just making this stuff up. Currently, let me get my figures right here. Currently, 18,000 applied to come to the U.S. All right. Again, a lot don't qualify because of failed polygraph tests. And there's this feeling of abandonment when they fail these polygraph tests. Because they don't know why. They don't know what went wrong. Now, am I saying we should just open the floodgates and let people in from Afghanistan into this country? No. I mean, no way saying that. And I hope that that doesn't come across as what I'm trying to say. We have to vet these people, but there has to be a better way, and there has to be a way that we could do it and expedite people into this country through the special visa program that served alongside of us. And for so many of you, I know that you have a personal interest in this topic. So again, I wanted to get this information out. Okay. Some other stuff that I wanted to compare when we talk about getting them over to this country in the visa program and immigrating into the United States. Just for some figures, again, trying to base stuff more in fact than my personal opinion, which isn't worth a damn thing really in the grand scope of anything. 188,000 migrants were encountered at the border with Mexico in June alone of 2021. 188,000. Okay. 50,000 migrants from mid-March to mid-July were released into the U.S. without a court date. So they have no visa. They do not have a court date. And the vetting process is almost nothing. And the reason for this is because the border's just overloaded. The courts are overloaded. They don't know when the court date's going to be. Homeland Security can't handle these people. We can't house them. So they're released into the United States to a quote unquote family member who's going to care for them and make sure that they contact ICE within 60 days of being released into the U.S. to get their court date. Do you think that happens? In the first 60 days, from mid-March to mid-July, 16,000 failed to make contact with ICE. So, again, using numbers, using facts, 18,000 applied for the special visa program coming from Afghanistan under the idea that they were interpreters. They worked alongside the United States, whether, whatever service they provided to the United States while over there to help us fight the Taliban. 18,000. So almost the exact same amount, 2,000 shy. We're mincing words here. Failed to even just appear from mid-March to mid-July. Okay. 6,700 did make contact. They still don't have court dates, but they did make contact with ICE within the first 60 days. 27,000 have not made contact yet, but they're still within that 60,000. That 60-day window, but they haven't done it yet. So many of those are now already getting to the end. Like I said, this is through mid-July. So some of those people are already past their window and have not made contact. So when I personally look at this, these are huge numbers, 188,000 in June alone, contact at the border. 50,000 from mid-March to mid-July that were just released into the country with no court date. Let's not even talk about the kids. You could watch the news. Kids that are at the border that just get dropped off, all that kind of fun stuff. The coyotes, you hear about all this other stuff. I'll let you make your own opinion about what we should do on the southern border. It's not for this show. What is for this show is the idea that we have 18,000 people that served alongside our men and women that are applying for visas and trying to do it the right way, and they're not getting in. Many of them are denied. Many of them don't make it the entire time, this over a year process to get over here. And I think it's kind of disgusting. I try not to put too much of my personal political beliefs and all of this stuff into this show because I would like to make the show more about just information for veterans so that you could be the best veteran you can be after, your service and you can continue to serve in your community in whatever way you want to. So I try to get information out to you. That's the purpose of everything that we do here. But every once in a while, you got to kind of stand up and say, man, this ain't right. This isn't right. And this isn't a Democrat issue. This isn't a Republican issue. This has been going on. There's been Republican presidents. There's been Democrat presidents. There have been times when the Congress was Republican, Congress was Democrat, and they didn't take care of this situation. Now, there's some bills currently in Congress to expedite some of this stuff. And that's where we come in. If you are somebody that had an interpreter, somebody that you know, even by name, and I'm going to give you some information about how you can help out particular people. So if you know somebody by name, how can you help expedite their process? Okay. We'll get into that in a second. But just in general, I'm going to put a form letter up on the website that you can use to contact your, senator, congressman or woman, your representative, whatever, and say, hey, let's push these bills forward. Let's get these people that deserve to be in our country and deserve our help because they helped us. Let's protect them from what we know is going to happen. The Taliban it didn't even take them months. They're already taking over large portions of Afghanistan. Do you think that these people are going to live? No, they're not. So if we don't protect them, nobody will. They will be dead. I'm not trying to be harsh, but they will be dead. So we need to do the right thing. All right. So I'll have that up on the website. You can go there and you can check that out. And if that's something you want to do, please do it. If you have somebody that, a specific name, information, and you want to help out, maybe it was the interpreter that was attached to your unit when you served, whatever the case may be, there is a way to actually help them. Okay. And I'm flipping through my papers here because I want to make sure I get this all right. So some of the success stories with this was they were able to get a visa within 3 months for one person by following this process. They contacted 17 U.S. senators and representatives, filed congressional inquiries about it. And 12 friends and family members helped in this process when this one person pushed their interpreter through. Okay. So to understand congressional math a little bit, because it goes into why they were able to get 17 congressmen and women to help. Okay. You have a representative for your area. You have 2 state senators. Okay. That doesn't add up to 17, right? Okay. Well, you can contact where you grew up and where you live. Okay. You can get a friend from another state to contact theirs. You can get a family member who lives in another district in your home state or in another state to contact their representative and officials. Okay. So when you do that, when you engage with other people to kind of help you, it adds up. So you might actually have, you personally might have 2 senators from your home state, but you live now in a different state. So you have those 2 senators. And then you get a friend who lives in another state and they have 2 senators. Okay. And then as far as representatives, you have a representative. You also have a representative back in the state that you were born in, say, or grew up in. Then you also have your friend's representative in a different district in your state or in another state or whatever. And all of a sudden now you have 17 people that you've contacted to kind of push and file inquiries about where we're at for the person that you're trying to help. Okay. So that's our congressional math. Okay. You're going to want to call the congressional office, the individual who handles visa issues. Might be the local, might be their main, it could be their DC office. Okay. You're going to want to do that. You want to tell them the story. You want to make the story as compelling as possible. I'm not telling you to lie, but be detailed. Be detailed about this, how this person helped you personally. Tell it from a personal perspective. Okay. Tell a story to this person that grabs them and says that we should be helping this person. You're vouching for this person. So make sure, because you're vouching for this person, that this is what this person deserves it, obviously. Okay. We know that they deserve it, but I always want to caveat that. Make sure you know what you're doing. You're vouching for this person. Okay. All right. You want to have an email ready to send because they're going to say, send me an email. So you want to have that and you want to hit it with them. Boom. If you already have it written, that's great because you can click it maybe while you're even on the phone with them. It'll show up. Boom. Here you go. Don't let them give you an email address to a general mailbox. Some intern is going to get that shit. It's going to go nowhere. You want to make sure that it gets to a direct staffer or the representative, congressperson, senator, whatever, themselves. All right. You want an official document with the SIV number. Okay. So that's the special immigrant visa number. Okay. With the interview confirmation. All right. So this is the best done when their interview is already been completed. All right. Copy of the interpreter's passport. You only need the main page. Letters of recommendation. So if you have other people from your unit that you can contact and multiple people can write letters of recommendation, get them together, compile them. You need the birth certificate, okay, if it's possible. Sometimes some of this documentation is going to be hard to get, especially if you've been out of Afghanistan for a while and have lost contact, but you're doing the best that you can. Better to do something than nothing. If you don't have some of this information, don't just say, well, I don't have all of this, I ain't going to do it. Better to submit some stuff than nothing at all. You're going to do a privacy release form. Again, you're going to get their email and you're going to send this stuff over to them. All right. So that's how you're going to initiate the contact. There's examples of the Privacy Act release form. You can get that. I'll actually put some examples of it up on the website, how you fill it out, what type of information needs to go on it, all that stuff. Again, I'll throw all this up on the website so you could look at it. All right. You're going to send the congressional inquiry, send the staffer the email with all the documentation. All right. And you also want to remember to follow up. Okay. So this is your first congressional inquiry is now submitted. Doesn't end. If you think that congressperson is just going to jump out of their chair and start helping you, you don't know the U.S. government. And I also am going to question whether you really served in the U.S. military. Let's be honest. Okay. So you're going to have to follow up. You might have to do this whole process over again, but there's a way to check. Okay, there's a visa status check to see if this thing has moved along. So again, there's a website here. I'll put that up. I'll put that information up where you can go. You have the number. You put it in, and you can check what the status of the visa is. You want to keep checking. Okay, you want to tell your interpreter's story. You might want to contact a newspaper, local newspaper to your congressperson's area, so that they have to see it. So maybe that the reporter reaches out to them. All right. How did they save lives? They fought alongside you. Did they provide life-saving medical attention? Did they help you with critical decision-making? Okay. Why do we have to help this person now? Do they have direct threats against them? Is the family threatened? Are they one of the 4 million that are displaced and now possibly in hiding in areas that are controlled by the Taliban? All right. How many years did they serve? Is there a matter of time before they're killed? Be blunt. There's nothing wrong with that. Be blunt. Say, listen, they've had threats against their lives. I don't think this person's going to make it a month. That's how you're going to get action. All right? You're going to call your staffers again and again. All right? You're going to do an inquiry again if you have to. You might have to send this again. The second time will be easier because everything will already be written up and you can just send it again. But you want to continue to call that staffer. You want to continue to check that visa. All right? And then hopefully, this is going to push it along and you get this 3-month instead of 1 year outcome for your interpreter. All right? Again, that's a lot of information. I know. This is not the show that's fun and flashy and, grabs you with all this fun stuff that you can do out in the wild America after you get out of the military. Okay. But this is an important topic that I think hits home for a lot of us, and it's the right thing to do. There's an American mindset that sometimes you got to do things just because it's the right thing to do. Okay. We're supposed to take care of each other. And just because you wore a different uniform doesn't mean, or you didn't wear a uniform at all, that we just leave you alone and, well, we used you and now we'll throw you away. That's not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is take care of these people. Vet them. Make sure they're safe coming into the country. We don't want anybody to get hurt here. We don't want to let the wrong people in the country. I understand that. But there has to be a quicker way and a better way to protect these people after they put their lives on the line to protect us. So again, all this information is going to go up on the website. It'll take me a little bit to put it together. But I'm going to get everything up there so that you have all of it. Some of these facts, figures, the forms, the form letter to send to your elected official, the process for doing the congressional inquiry, and contact the information that you should use to contact when you do call a congressperson's office, how to deal with that, and also some information that you might want to include when you talk to, say, a newspaper in the local area or media in your local area to put some pressure on these people to act. All right. And again, it's a numbers game. So don't just think local to your one representative and your two senators. Get other people involved. Provide the information to them and hammer them. Just keep hammering them. It's the only way we get anything done. Look at when we need to get stuff changed in the VA. Look at what Stronghold Freedom Foundation is doing. Look at what Hunter Seven's doing for the burn pits and all that stuff, the Fields Foundation. All these other different organizations, you think that they send one inquiry and then walk away? No, they have whole teams that hammer them every single day. Boom, boom. That's how you get something done. So if we want to change this situation, if we want to help these people before it's too late, that's how you have to do it. All right. That's it. Again, it's a little bit of a weird 50th episode, but I thought it was the right thing to do, again, to get this information out, take a pause from doing interviews and talk about this. Again, I want to thank the Foxhole Podcast for reaching out to me to let me be part of this. Go back, listen to episode 41, listen to Colonel Miska and the stuff that he's done. Check out the book, Baghdad Underground Railroad, if you want more information about the Iraq side of it, because again, there's a whole Iraq side of it as well. We focused on the Afghan side because of current events and what's going on. But there's plenty of people in Iraq that are waiting as well. So, again, help these people out. All right. I think that's it for this show. I appreciate you sitting down with me and listening to me ramble. I haven't done a show by myself in quite some time. It's, again, I'm super lucky that I have somebody to interview every week. But, we started the show a year and a half ago with me just talking into a microphone and boring you guys to death. So why not do that for the 50th? We'll bring it back old school. Next week, we're going to be back with an interview, though. And I got a great one for you. We got the founder of the Veterans Adventure Group. He's going to come on, talk about extreme sports and how just being a veteran is awesome, and getting out there and doing cool shit is the way you should spend your time, whether that's climbing Mount Rainier or scuba diving, climbing, whatever. They're going to Denali, for Christ's sake. It's a blast. So that's going to be a great interview. I hope you guys are going to enjoy that one. That is going to be up next Friday. Again, check out bulletproofveteran.com for all this information, the swag that we got out there, everything we can do. You can get almost all my information there. I'm trying to beef up the website as I get time to just add things to it. So I'm going to keep doing that. Go to YouTube, Rumble, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Head over to nooneleft.org for more information from them. It's a great place to get information about this particular topic and the work that they are doing. Also, it's a way to get information on how you can help. Okay, it's a great kind of one-stop shop. So head on over there if you need more information about this kind of stuff. I hope I provided a little bit of good info just about what's going on in Afghanistan, and also some of the costs. Like I said, it's very eye-opening when you look at some of the things, especially, that difference between the interest that we pay and the money that we use to actually help the people that fought the war. It's very eye-opening. So just keep that in mind the next time you head to the polls about who really cares about you. I think that's it. I think I bored you enough, but it's important stuff, guys. So thank you for spending some time with me. 50 episodes. Love every minute. Love all of you. Thank you for the continued support. I hope that the next 50 are just as much fun. And I know they will be. But for this week and for Bulletproof Veteran Podcast, my name is Jason, and thank you for your service.